Hello, everybody, and welcome to your Thursday lighting critique. We have Caro and Andre on live. So we're going to start with your guys' stuff. We've got a handful of images to go through today, looking at some combinations of old and new in here too. Caro is here first, and so I will get hers up and rolling. So let's see. Okay. Oh. So this is a reference. This is from Blade Runner.
Yes.
Very cool. Love this shot. Have you always been like a fan of this movie, or is this like did you discover this
Yeah.
for this?
No. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Like it comes up like the original Blade Runner is now 30 to 35 years old, and it comes up like all the time in lighting references because it's just the
It's
cinematography is
amazing. The
incredible. Yeah,
photography, yeah.
it's so good. All right, cool. So we've got two examples here, and then the main question that you had was talking about like this additional. It almost looks like a rim, maybe like a little fill, like just a little extra light on her face, right? And there's also a little bit more here on the screen right side.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So I think this one's better. I like having a little bit of extra light in there. The reference, it's actually because there's actually like in terms of her lighting, there's kind of three main sections. There's like the ultra bright, then there's this area in here, which is like number two. So this is one, two, and then like all this kind of shadowed area is number three. So it's not um, it's not exactly like a perfect science, but that's roughly how it lays out. And then they have um Mike, I don't know if this is they were able to accomplish this with one light or they needed two, but like having this effect and then the way that this like totally rims up her hand in the cigarette is just it's really perfect. And then also like hits the cigarette smoke just slightly down there and allows it to fade up. Also while hitting like a little bit over here, it's creating darkness. It's just this is just a beautiful lighting setup. It's really, really good. And so for yours, you've kind of got that. And then if I'm looking at the one, two, three regions, I think actually, I think that I think you've kind of got it here. I think that this can go a little bit further onto her face, just a touch more. I think that this value, I like that you have the extra light in here. I like the shaping. Like I'm gonna say it this way. I like the shaping that it's providing because you can see now there's more variation in this section, and that's good. But I think it's a little bit too bright. So I like the position of it. I would just take it down a little bit. And then um, for the screen right side of the face, I think that's a good base value. Now, one of the things that we talk about, and the reason why these characters are going to be different, is their skin tones overall. She's a very fair-skinned character. This I forget her name, but she's a darker skinned character. And the things you want to watch out for is like you don't want to you want to make sure that when you're lighting anything that's a little bit darker, that you want to make sure that you're maintaining the richness in the dark values. Like you want to maintain that like core dark value, but you also want to get shaping in there. And the way that you do that is with lights that either hit more specularity or are only emitting specular value, which is kind of like been my check. And so for that, I think you can tone down, like take these lights as is. You know, like I said, maybe position this one over a little bit. Take down the diffuse value of this light. And then what I would do is then put in either a spec only light, like a light that we just turn diffuse off and just put specularity in it, and then use that to create some shaping in this region and then a little bit over here too, because you want to just start picking up some individual highlights from there. You've got the nice rim on the hand and the cigarette. That's working out well. It's a little like the reference is just kind of on one side and fades off to dark. It'd be cool if you could keep that too. Like where right now the rim's kind of hitting both sides, but that's really minor. And
I
then
think the last version has that.
oh
I
yes,
think. Yeah.
yeah, it's still a little hot on the top, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I removed that. Okay.
yeah. So for you, the position and the setup of the lights are good, but just really try and get some specular values onto her skin because that'll really help. Because even in the lighter skin too, you can see like some specular values in here. And then she's also like another thing that's really cool about this lighting setup is you start to see like the peach fuzz on the skin too, which is really, really nice. But yeah, for this character, it'd be more about getting those reflective specular qualities in there.
I'm more into with the light more saturated because when I took off the saturation, it looks really odd.
Yeah, I like. There's a bit of warmth throughout this. That's really nice. The saturation on the hair can come down though. I was gonna say that too.
Okay.
Like the orange is a little bit prominent. I would pull that back just a little bit. Yeah, that's great. Andre, do you have anything? Anything you want to add?
The only thing I see, and I don't know, it might be on purpose, is that on the reference, the fallout from the rim light on her to the second zone is very harsh.
Like this line here.
I don't know if you want to do that, or if you would rather have the a little bit more faded fallout like you have right now. I mean, I like the way it is now. It's just.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you answer. Go ahead.
Oh no! I on the first when I positioned the lights on the first time, I had that harsh line, but then Francesco tip of how to try to erase that Terminator line, I think we call it. So I try to fade it out. Sorry, my English.
No, you're fine. It's not normal English words for this. It's jargony. So it's okay.
Yeah. Then forget my comment. Then I think it looks really good.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. It's always funny because like Francesco and I worked together for a long time, and so when we give the same notes, it's like, oh yeah, it's because we kind of came up through the same training a little bit. Like it's always fun. That's cool. All right, great. All right, let's hop back over to Andre. So Andre, we've got an update to the your soul life here. This is I like you're moving in the right direction for sure. Like this is looking a lot better. The fruit looks a lot better. Like just those like little bits of like white speck in there, like really makes a big difference and it just kind of brings them to life. Same thing with the pears. I think it's looking really good. So I had a chance to look. I pulled up a bunch of reference here, and it's an interesting thing that kind of happens. So is this the same? I guess this is the same. It's an interesting thing that happens in that they let's see what I kind of mixed it here. There's another one. So I was looking at it, and some of them look more faded, like this. Like the black point is more faded, and some of them the black point is very stark. And I was like, I don't know if that's style or age. Like I don't know if that's just because they're old and haven't been restored properly. You know what I mean? Like sometimes. So, but one of the things I was really seeing, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like I have it. Oh, this one kind of does, but the lighting is more dramatic than I thought it would be. And so I think you could actually go a little bit more dramatic with the lighting if you wanted to. I think that the darks can go a little bit darker. I think the areas that you're highlighting, the bright area, can actually get a little bit tighter. Because there was one, I'll just search for it here. Vegetable white fruit. Let's see. There was one that I saw that was like, and again, it's totally up to you. I'll lose it this time, but it was basically like really centered on a small area of the frame. But like if you, these are a little bit lifted, but yeah, you've got a little bit more range. But I just wanted to tell you you've got some more flexibility with this stuff to kind of go into the allow the darks to go even darker and create more of a contrast point in your image and look a little bit tighter. This shadow is a little bit tight coming along here. I think I would soften that just a touch.
Okay.
It's like you don't, yeah. Like if you wanted to go. Like this realm, and then we'll back off a little bit on the saturation. Like you could push it a little bit stronger. And I think that would work really well because that would make those highlights really stand out. And then softening the shadows just a touch. Like I like that they feel like sunlight, but like it's more like on the basket. It just feels like a lot of slashing lines going across. Flowers look a lot better. Those look great. Some more value in there. This is so dense that I'm willing to believe that would get that dark. But like in here, those areas look a lot better. Did you have any questions? Are you struggling with anything?
No. My struggle is only with the, like, for example, figuring out, because I'm using these models that I got from this website Polygon, and they're basically geared towards a Blender and architecture, so like 3ds Max and Corona or something, and I'm trying to figure out how to plug the maps and make them work on Maya and RenderMan. But yeah, that's my main.
It's always
other
tricky
than
with that
it's,
stuff.
it's going out pretty good.
Yeah, that stuff drives me crazy. That like getting because it's like getting the displacement map plugged in, but like how does RenderMan actually do displacement? Then you got to flip it to raw, and you got to do all those like. It seems I always think like there's got to be a better way for this than this. It's always
Yeah, I wish they had like a same way that they have I don't know color profiles on Photoshop or something, that they would have something like that on the maps, that it's like, oh, you just plug this on whichever displacement you have on your shader and it'll work, or that kind of stuff.
That's why I like I mean, we like Substance has the renderer, and I'm planning on making some intro videos for you guys for the Substance stuff here in the next couple months. But yeah,
I'm actually watching your soccer cleat video.
But that functionality of like sending it from Painter, like just painting the materials and then just like sending it into Stager and not having to worry about any of that stuff, that's been my go-to.
Well, and that's the thing, is like I was really excited because Substance has a plugin for that you can use on Maya and stuff, but it crashes with RenderMan. So
oh really? It also like I think
I actually posted on Substance Discord. The guy was like, oh yeah, it's a bug. I can how do you say I can
make a ticket for it or something, or like look at
I can it's working, it's happening with me too, so I'm gonna put up a ticket and blah blah blah, and I was like, oh great.
No, that's the
this is one of the most frustrating things with 3D, is the amount of stuff that doesn't work at all, and coming from Photoshop where like everything works basically, and I actually thought that Photoshop was a terrible software. Now I think it's like the most perfect software ever. Like I'm a student, and I've lost count of how many bugs I found.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you guys just let that,
Well, because what you just described, a Substance plugin inside Maya using RenderMan is 3 big companies all trying to work together, and that's like, and it's like a lot of like, I mean, sometimes it turns into like, well, they're, like Maya will switch the way they do this thing in the back end, and that'll actually break the plugin, and then RenderMan will break this other thing, and it's just like, so you did the right thing by posting to the Substance Discord, because those are like that guy is, I don't know who exactly responded to you, but I'm sure it was one of our either product owners or software engineers or somebody who actually is going to make that change, because it's like, hopefully they'll get that out soon, but it's a bummer, man. Sorry about that.
That's
But I hate that process of like getting the maps plugged in right, and hopefully there's a lot of faith in the USD workflow the next couple of years, becoming more and more standardized across different software and different renderers. That's going to fix all that, but it's kind of I've seen that work really well inside like one software, but like moving it, I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to make things a lot better. So. All right, cool. Yeah. So
hopefully with Marvel stretching the VFX industry so thin, they're gonna have to figure out ways of like being more productive and things not crashing so much.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get something good out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hope. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, I think those would be the biggest ones for me. It would be just like tightening up the area that you really want to focus on, like really narrow it down, soften the shadows, add some more dark values. And I think this is going great. Yeah, that spec adds so much to it. It's great.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, we've got Angela up next. We'll just go alphabetically through the rest and make sure I got this framed up correctly. So, love the changes. Like big time, like big improvement. More softness, more diffusion, more glow. Just changing, like looking at the screen right character, like just changing that speck on the hat, or that bright patch on the hat, really allows us to zero in on the face, and like a little more light wrap around here. Just it's all coming together really really nicely. Um, Adding the foreground depth of field, huge, because now like and then you kind of soften it overall. But like here, it kind of feels a little bit graphic, like just a bunch of like almost like zebra stripes going across. But you soften that, and like sometimes just putting things out of focus allows the viewer's brain to be like, oh yeah, that's definitely water, because you kind of fill in the gaps a little bit, and it just works really nice. I think um, the only things that I would consider at this point, and you this now we're starting to get into like some stylistic things, and you can totally ignore me if you want to. But I think I would push this central area just, and I would do it probably like this way, either in Photoshop or Nuke or however you're compositing this. Just push that central area just a touch brighter. And the end result of this is just to make a little bit more vignetting. But instead of making, because I think the edges are at a good darkness, I wouldn't want to go much darker than that. But I think it would be more about like pushing just a little bit more value in the middle. I can set a little bit more. Yeah, I think adding a little bit more, and then it might just be in there too. Yeah, that would be all I would really do. Maybe I think the skin on this character on the left looks great. Like this is what I was talking about earlier, just like the dark skin, but getting that little specular highlights on the arm and on the fill side of the face looks so pretty. Hair's got so much definition. I think the values on the fill side are right. Yeah, I think it's all looking really good. I mean, if I was if you wanted, again, these are all just like bonus point kind of stuff. I would consider maybe pushing a little bit more subsurface scattering on the kid on the screen right side. The kid on the screen left side, I would perhaps get just because the mermaid lower half of the body is so um, unique, the shot, kind of a story point. I would perhaps push a little bit more reflective light on there to try and get a little more of that shimmer on there. Um, yeah, and I think that would be really good. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention to you, Andre, if you're still around, is I think we can actually put a little bit more warmth on your light too. Now that I'm looking at this one, I meant to say that too. So I think we can,
Okay.
yeah, just a little bit more color and warmth in the key light. All right, that's it. Sorry,
Okay.
Angela, back to you. Okay. Yeah, I think this looks great. I think you're doing a wonderful job. I think the sky, I think everything's integrating really, really nicely. And this is like, this looks like a movie poster for a Pixar film. Like this looks like a Luca spinoff, ripoff. But yeah, great job. All right, and last up we have Justin. So this is a new project to me. I know you've gotten notes on it in the past. So let's take a look at it. So I think overall, and let's see. I don't think there was reference on this. You may have posted reference in the past, but to me, it feels a little bit on the blue side. Like even the key light feels a little bit neutralized in the blues. And I wonder if let's try to push this a little bit. Like I wonder if pushing some warmer values um, in the warmths might help it out a little bit. And then one thing you want to watch out for, sorry, this is really dumb, but I just happened to see it, was the net of this hoop. So lots of times when you have things like wires, like telephone wires in the city or something like that, they have a tendency to fall below 1 pixel, and so they just won't render. So what you get is like it's kind of semi-transparent. So sometimes what you have to do with stuff like that is render just that asset at like 3 or 4 times the normal resolution, and then downsize it for the final render, just so you can make sure that you're rendering out pixels for the whole thing, and you'll actually be able to read that. So kind of a dumb one there, but anyway, go back to this. So I think adding a little bit of warmth to the key light, I think would help. Again, like I don't see the reference, but that's just where my gut lands. The other thing is I love this, like this gobo lighting and the shadowing that you're getting in there is really beautiful. I think we can position it in a way. My guess is that the action kind of happens right around in here, and the way that this basketball court would be laid out, like there would be a lot of open space just off camera here, like that's the rest of the court essentially. And so basically what I'm saying is it looks like the light's coming in this way. I don't think there would be this much shadow right here. I think we can open that up and just keep this shadow to be behind him, and to the point where it's kind of like allowing just darker, cooler values to allow the red hair and warmer tones of the skin to pop out. I think the rest of it's pretty good. There's something about so one of the things that's happening is there's a little bit of a disconnect between a couple of things. One is that these buildings are super detailed, right? Like even though they're a little bit out of focus, like I can see like weathering in here and a little bit like open windows, and there's just detail. But then we get in the foreground, which should have more detail, and like the wall is pretty static, right? Like the wall is cube, and there's no variation on the material. Like I would expect to see this type of weathering there as well. And we see it on the concrete a little bit, but then we get over to the basketball pole, and it's pretty, it's very, very clean. And so I think that there's an opportunity for you to rough up the materials of the basketball hoop and that concrete wall, because also that concrete wall, unless, as far as I know, most of them are made up of like cinder blocks. Maybe they are larger sheets of concrete. I don't know. But my thought would be like there would be something more that shows the construction process of this. There would be some more wear and tear that, like, the bottom would have more. I'm trying to think of, but basically like there'd be a difference in how they age from the top to the bottom. Just more variation on that. Yeah, I mean, like the basics are there, man. Like you're looking rock solid. Like you've got a lot of really good elements in there. Like lighting those leaves is not easy to do. I think there's a couple parts, like there's a hot spot here. I would just make sure to check if well, 2 things on leaves. I think that make sure I get the whole scene in here. Sorry, I was kind of too focused on both of these. My apologies. Yeah, like this, I like that there's a tree here and a tree here. I just want to open up this middle part a little bit to create like a stage for him. Yeah, and then just focus on roughing that up a little bit. Yeah, everything's nicely in place. I just think, the trees. So yeah, bright spot here. Make sure the translucency is on in the leaves so that light can pass through. And then what I do too is make sure to hit the leaves, especially with a cooler spec light. So it's because leaves are shockingly waxy and specular in their own value. So just getting like some blue, it's just like a little bit of a blue reflection on them. Just because what happens in CG a lot is when a large swath of tree leaves falls into shadow, they flatten out very easily, and that's a good way to get some more shape in there too. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts for today?
One thing, well, actually, two things that I thought. you were talking about the aging on the wall and stuff, and I think it would be cool to also have a bit more variation on the little plants growing on the corner, because they all kind of look the same size, and
Yeah.
I think it would be like, unless somebody went there and planted them all at the same exact the same day, they would have variations. Like one would be really tiny, the other one would be bigger and stuff.
Yeah.
And the other thing, it looked to me like the highlight, the top of his head is a bit darker if you compare to, let's say, the hoop and the thing. So maybe making it brighter there.
Yeah, I think both those are good notes. And then in terms of the weeds or the grass here, there's a couple of them that come out very dark too. So just keep an eye on those. I was thinking that. But yeah, those are good notes. Very, very good call. Yeah, and like basketballs, whenever you're when you use them in outdoor, like I grew up playing basketball like every day outside, the ball gets pretty scuffed up and pretty beat up pretty quickly, and like that orange color starts to wear down a lot. And so it's actually nice from a CG perspective because it's not like other equipment that like the hand is always in one spot every time. A basketball just gets scuffed up kind of haphazardly. So you could just put like a noise texture on there, a noise pattern on there to break up that orange texture a little bit. And yeah, good stuff, man. This is I'm curious to see where you go with this. All right, cool. That is all for today. So thank you, Andre and Caro, for being in and being live. It's always lovely to see you and very nice to meet you. And I will talk to you guys. Actually, I will be doing written critiques tomorrow, and I will be back on live to do a video critique again next Tuesday. So until then, I will talk to you all very soon.
Thank you.
All right, be good, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.